Hello, everybody, and welcome to the last match of round two. I'm excited to be commentating here with JB, who's commentating his second match of the day.
Hello. Welcome back. Or it's your first time tuning in. Hope you have a good day so far.
Yeah, and we're both looking forward to a very, very good race. Rhino and Muri are both very good runners, so we're looking forward to seeing who wins this.
Yeah, so in the previous race between Nerf and Palm, I think they were only separated by maybe 10 seconds or so on their PBs, and again, this one is going to be very, very close. They were much closer than they are right now. I think Rhino very recently got a very low 51 time, which put the gap between them slightly larger. But yeah, two very exceptionally good runners, all the same.
Indeed. So we should be getting underway in about a minute, but in the meantime, let's give some stats. So this is the last match of round two. Both these runners are 1-0, and sadly, the 1-1 bracket will be getting even more close and filled with good runners after this race, as both these runners are incredibly good. So if you don't know the format of the race, it is the format of the tournament. Right now, it's a Swiss bracket. So that means you play people with the same record as you. So both these runners have the same record of 1-0.
Yeah, so we'll have 5 rounds of Swiss in total, and then the 8 players with the best records will go into a double elimination bracket to decide the winner. So every match counts, and they're going to get harder and harder as the weeks go on. So I believe Airto is counting down our runners in Discord at the moment, so we'll be catching up to them very, very soon. So yeah, best of luck to both runners. As we said, both Muri and Rhino, very experienced players, did not have, I believe, a great deal or any experience of the all skills category before the kind of announcement of the tournament, but both very accomplished any percent players, and they've almost immediately translated that skill into all skills. I think already they both have top 10 times in all skills.
Yep.
On speedrun.com, which is really impressive.
Yeah, both of them are top 10 runners, and both just started when the tournament got announced. They're both insane, crazy good runners, so I'm very excited. They should be starting any minute down. I counted them down. Now we just have to wait for a little bit of stream delay to get going. All right. Yep, they're getting off here. So if you've seen any of the races before, you know the deal here. People arrive, KP. You know it. We've heard it. So yeah, I'm excited. We should the layout is still not switched. There we go. There we go.
Look at that, just like magic.
That's much better.
That's really cool. But yeah, okay, so away we go. Muri just slightly ahead of Rhino as far as stream delay is concerned. Usually we get a sync up towards the end of King's Pass, just to try and get them as close as possible.
Yep.
But both runners looking like fairly uneventful, which is good. King's Pass thus far, no small hiccups.
Muri had a little bit better Vengeful RNG, which is, I think he may be in the lead by a little bit. But a 51.43 is a really good King's Pass time. So any 51 is incredible. So now we're going to be seeing both of them on their way to the Vengeful Spirit. This is a very consistent split for all runners. It's done in pretty much every category the same way every time. So both these runners we should be seeing very good VS times.
So Muri dropping down into the well at 1:14.5 and Rhino just under a second behind. Looks like we might have some audio issues.
Um,
Are we still
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
intro screen audio?
yeah, we didn't get a helper with us, so I'll try to do this on
If you
my
can ping
own.
someone and ask for assistance with that.
Yep.
Rhino getting the double spike very cleanly. Muri, unfortunately, getting the second aspid slightly missed, so has to jump up and clean him up. So Rhino's going to be taking the early lead with this one, but very negligible time loss in the grand scheme of things. Looks like it's going to be about a 7-second lead for Rhino already. So we are working on, well, the lovely SpeedGaming staff are working on audio sync and video sync as well.
All right, perfect. So, I think we should be getting things a little better under control. I just contacted SpeedGaming. Hopefully, we'll be getting some audio. Sadly, I don't know how to work everything on my own, but we're here for commentary.
I think we do now have Rhino audio, which is fantastic. Thank you very much. Please let us know if there are any further problems, and we'll do our best to relay that onto the staff. But I think we are, yeah, good to go. So False Knight, very straightforward. We just thwack our way past this wall, ignore False Knight because we don't need his geo. It's a bit slow to collect, and we're not going to be entering city via intended methods. So we'll just skip straight past him and pick up our first spell, which is Vengeful Spirit Fireball.
Yep. Rhino looking a little ahead already. Very, very good Vengeful Spirit split from him. Muri a little behind. Hopefully this isn't too big of a gap, but a bad Vengeful Spirit can definitely mess up runners for the rest of the race, mess up some mindset.
Yeah, Rhino getting the fireball at 3:31 there, really impressive. Muri about 10 seconds behind, so not quite sure, whilst we were fixing audio, exactly what caused that delay. But that is an excellent time for Rhino on that early split. Really well played.
He definitely has to be feeling good. I know he was a little nervous before the race, but a very good Vengeful Spirit should calm those nerves quite a bit, which is always good to see.
So once we try and escape our way from Mound, blocking our way will be the Elder Boulder, which will either choose to give us good RNG and allow them to escape immediately, or it might just decide, no, you can wait here for 10 seconds whilst I do not answer your requests.
Yeah,
we shall have to hope. Rhino getting the first spit, so yeah, good luck is definitely shining on Rhino today so far. Muri not getting quite as lucky, but a second spit is not a huge time loss, so that's good.
Yes, absolutely. And normally you would have to deal with a second boulder, but since these runners are playing on the cheater patch 1221, they don't have to, which is nice.
Cheater patch.
Me and JB are both notorious current patch runners.
Did you not start out running any percent 1221?
I did, but for the tournament I'm running current patch.
He's made the switch.
I've made the switch, and I will not comment if I regret it or not.
So picking up a little bit of soul here, we need just one fireball to kill this Elder Boulder, because we're going to do a little glitch where we shoot the fireball at the edge of the screen, and it gets stuck on the boulder and just 4 hits him. He dies instantly. But we do want a little bit extra soul, so we can do a short fireball skip, which Rhino is going to do here very nicely. Saves about 3 seconds from walking around.
Yeah, and there are going to be 2 more, hopefully, fireball skips from both runners. I have pretty good confidence in both of them. I may be cursing them here. Pretty good confidence in both of them hitting all the fireball skips. They're fairly difficult when you're first starting them out, but after a while, you get the hang of them pretty good. So you have 2 more coming up from Rhino. Rhino's approaching the second as we speak.
Yeah, the
And
second
Muri
one is
close
the
behind.
most important one because it skips a huge area of having to follow Hornet through green path.
Yep.
So hopefully Rhino manages this. There is a backup where you can pogo on a flying squid mosquito enemy if necessary that doesn't lose too much time. Rhino not quite turning around fast enough the first time, but ooh, he went for the one fireball. Ambitious, but not quite there. So he is going to take the backup. This will allow Muri potentially to catch up.
Yep.
Very
And
nice
they
from
seem
Muri,
to
and
be
he
pretty
does
much.
take the lead.
Yeah, they are within a second of each other now, and Muri has the lead by about a second. Yeah, missing that fireball. Apparently I did curse him, which is unfortunate. Can be very disheartening. But this one up here, I don't know how exactly much time this saves, but this is also a fairly important one and more difficult as well.
So if you walk all the way around like both levels, then that fireball skip saves a little under 15 seconds. But if you're quick, you can lure one of the husks down, and then as he's falling, pogo on top of him, and then you only lose, I think, 2 or 3 seconds. So it's actually quite a nice backup.
Yes.
So yes, Airto getting the commentator's curse out, but it does sync our runners up very nicely. So respect for that. Both runners going for and getting the double fireball on the Moss Knight, so that's very nice. They won't have to spend too much time farming soul in the next room.
Yep, and if you've seen any percent run or are familiar with the any percent route, you're used to the runners killing the Vengeful King here, but we are not going to be doing that. We're going to be going instead down, killing some more Moss Knights, and leaving Zote to die.
Yeah, Geo is a lot more important in the early game of all skills on this patch in particular, because very quickly we'll need to buy Dash Slash, which is 800 Geo. So Vengeful King only giving us 65, but these two Moss Knights and their Geo Rocks giving us about 170. So much more economical to go and pick those up instead. If we got Vengeful King with the quick kill, we wouldn't have any soul to kill those Moss Knights, and it would just take way too long.
Yep, and both of them getting good RNG here, which is nice. And with the Moss Knight quick kill. And so yeah, both of them are going to be making their way down to Dash Slash after they get a couple upgrades that they need. And that is to perform something called a lever skip. You could probably fill in the words for me as I describe it, but lever skips allow the runners to get a lot of items early, skip through most of some areas that they're going through coming up. And yeah. So we're going to see the runners clean up Hornet here really, really cleanly. I think Muri is incapable of getting doubles anymore because Hornet is stuck in the floor.
Yeah, so very clean fight from both of them. Rhino's ever so slightly faster, but no damage taken on either side. She jumped around an awful lot, which made getting doubles quite difficult. But yeah, really well played from both runners to adjust to her movements.
Yeah, within 0.2 of a second on the quit out, which is incredibly, incredibly close.
As we said, exactly what we'd expect from two runners of this caliber, though.
Yeah, so now both runners are going to be going down to get the Mantis Claw, which is a very... I like this section of the run. The early game is... So some call it boring after doing it a million times, but this section is pretty cool. It has some very, very interesting rooms to go through, some cool movement tech that runners do a lot. And,
yeah, we're going to descend quite a long way from the heights of Crossroads down to the bottom of Fungal Waste. So lots of these little inventory drops you're going to see here where we open the inventory in midair to uncap our full speed and fall faster. But if we leave that open too long, then we end up falling into acid, and that's obviously not good. So lots of excellent timing going to be required to open, close the menu at the right time to gain maximum benefit from the full speed without risking damage.
And as chat's saying, the sink is beautiful at this point in the race. Scurry pogs and Craigrasms everywhere from this beautiful, beautiful sink. Still super, super synced, which is always nice to say.
Yeah, we're going to be killing some enemies. I think they're funglings or are they amblooms. I'm not quite sure exactly which one they are, but some Geo Rocks as well. And one fireball is going to very quickly dispose of them. Muri already has enough soul to do this. Rhino is going to need to hit them one time first in order to be able to cast that fireball, and he does so.
Yep, and now we're going to see a cool trick called E-Pogo, where the runners bounce using their Pogo nail ability off the explosion. Rhino getting the backup for it, which you damage tank for.
Yeah, he was ever so slightly too far to the right, so when he pogoed, he hit the ceiling and didn't quite gain enough height. But because you can pogo the explosion, that was very smart of Rhino to just calmly wait for the explosion, move slightly further to the left, pogo the explosion, and then carry on. So we're going to quit out here, so it doesn't matter too much that we took that damage. But again, very close and nicely synced up between the two.
Absolutely. So yeah, now we're going to be making our way out of the main areas of the game, deviate from the intended path, and do something known as a shade skip, which you bounce on the head of your shade, which you leave after death, to get to the Blue Lake and then to the right side of the City of Tears.
Yeah, so this is the big major sequence break that you'll see in a lot of speedrunning categories, at least not the 100 and related categories, percent categories. So we're going to shade skip after buying the Shaman Stone Charm, because our nail in this run is never going to get upgraded. It's always going to do 5 damage. And our spells are going to be by far and away our major source of damage, so upgrading those is very important. So we'll pick up Shaman Stone from Salubra, and then we will perform the Shade Skip to get over to City as quickly as possible.
Yeah, something that I'm disappointed, I as well as Chad are disappointed that Muri didn't do the classic namesake Wii Pogo in the tournament setting. It makes sense. Wii Pogo is a more difficult version of ePogo, and in a race this tight, it might be a good idea just go for the safer but a little bit slower version. So both runners making quick work of the Gruz Mother. We actually do this enemy later than you're usually intended, but perfectly fine to do it now. Actually, the runners don't need Sly because we never get anything that Sly sells. We don't need in this draw in particular.
So roughly equal on the cleanup there. Muri got more Gruzzers with his 2 fireballs, but the one that got left over was hanging out right in the ceiling. Rhino didn't manage to kill, I think, 3 Gruzzers, but they very helpfully all kind of grouped up, just managed to kill them all at the same time, which is nice. So yeah, only about a 1 second difference between the runners right now. Still really, really tight.
Yep, and so both of them are going to be performing intentional deaths right here to pogo on the head of their shade and make their way to City. Rhino shooting on a fireball in hopes of a little bit extra geo, but I don't think he got any from it. No, he didn't. So each runner... Oh, Rhino gets a fireball, which... Ooh, they both get a fireball, which loses a little bit of time each.
Ooh, no, Muri was too low on the pogo. He's going to have to reset that shade skip. That is a big time loss.
That is looking like a 20 to 25 second time loss from Muri. Is it that much? Yeah, I think it is that much actually, which is
You have to kill
really
yourself again. You have to spend time waking up at the bench. It is a considerable time investment, unfortunately.
Yeah, and this will be the opportunity to get that early lead that Rhino wants. And it seems that shade skip has been cursed the last couple of days. I don't know what it is about it.
It's a very kind of strange occurrence. Like, we do it in like almost all categories, and runners who are as experienced as this have done it so many countless times that it becomes like second nature. You don't even really need to think about it. But it's precisely that kind of confidence that means when you're nervous, like the tiniest little thing can cause it to go wrong. Like, neither of them had very good RNG. The Shade tried to fireball both of them, but unfortunately Muri just had a slight lapse there, or maybe the Shade was just a little bit lower than he thought.
Yeah,
but
when the Shade
definitely not something
fireball
that can't be recovered from.
Yeah, when the Shade fireball is really high like that, it is hard to get it back down to a spot where it's pogoable. Rhino got really good RNG on the space that Muri is in. What is the name of the slashing husk?
Just a husk guard or a husk sentry.
Yeah, husk sentry I think is the bigger one, but who knows. And now both of these runners are going to be making their way to the dankest enemy in the game, the The golden
A
husk.
gorgeous golden husk with 420 geo, which we will need pretty much all of it.
Yep.
As we said, we're going to buy Dash Slash immediately after this, and gorgeous husk is more than half of the geo that is required for that, so it really is quite important.
Absolutely. We're about to get scammed by Oro, who I had to look up mid-commentary yesterday, which name the Nail Master went to.
Mato is on the mountain, is how I remember that.
That's a... Everyone remembers Shio. It's just Mato and Oro. You gotta remember between. Yeah, Muri getting a little bit unlucky with the doubles there.
Muri was about to leave there without picking up the geo, unless he just saw a big rock go into the room transition, maybe, that I didn't see. In which case, that is very big-brained.
Yeah, Muri definitely looking a little behind here, around probably 20 seconds from the mist shade pogo. But Rhino, there's a consistent setup and consistent thing that all runners do in this room. Might be the only thing in Hollow Knight that's actually consistent, but it is pretty nice that there is a consistent setup. But runners going to be collecting geo from these rows of hoppers, which will set them up with just enough to get the dash slash. Rhino with 834, a very comfy amount of geo for this and the next thing they have to buy.
Yeah, I think he got very good enemy spawns in the room above King Station, and managed to pick up quite a lot of geo there. Muri is still okay on geo, but he's going to have to get nearly everything from these 3 waves of hoppers. Rhino is very comfortable on geo right now.
Yep. Yeah, so the next thing that they're going to have to buy after Dash Slash is the King Station, the Stag Station right where they benched, which costs 300 geo, but luckily enough, there's plenty of areas in the next there's plenty of geo in the next area that they're going to fill all the way back up with all of their monies.
Yeah, so now that we have the Dash Slash nail art, we're going to use it almost immediately to do a little trick that's, I think, exclusive to this patch, where we can hit certain levers through walls and gates. And we're going to do that at the lever in Soul Sanctum to obtain Shade Soul way earlier, and also way cheaper than intended, because we don't need to buy that elegant key from Sly.
Yep, and they skip a majority of the Sanctum as well with that Dash Slash ability, which is very, very nice, and it's a blessing. That's all I'll say about it. But there are some pretty difficult rooms coming up here. There's a dark room, which the runners should be pretty good on. Most runners memorize this dark room pretty early on to their speedrunning journey, so that's not too much of a trouble. And as I say that, I curse Rhino getting lost a little bit in that dark room, but finding his way pretty quickly. I should really stop talking. Like I know that's the point of the commentary, but it doesn't seem to be going great.
But Rhino's ahead, so you should curse him so the race gets closer. That's how it works, right?
Yes. So Rhino.
And then when Muri gets ahead, you start cursing Muri.
That is very smart. Rhino is going to have perfect RNG from the Sanctum coming up. Absolutely. So Sanctum, as you may have heard runners curse it in the past, is a very heavily RNG area. These soul twisters can teleport right into the runners and cause a lot of damage in a lot of inconvenient spots. But before
Rhino
they
getting
go,
a little unlucky there, so he's going to be taking 2 fireballs to kill that soul twister. If you're lucky, you can kind of push that enemy back, and the fireball will double, which allows you to keep more soul. We're going to need that coming into Sanctum to deal with a soul warrior. Muri also had similar luck, but he opted to do nail hits to finish off the soul twister, so he's going to have a lot more soul going into this next section.
Yeah, so double fireballs are going to be something pretty consistent. You're going to notice it again and again with all bosses and small enemies throughout the run. That's just because they do double the fireball's damage for absolutely free. And sorry, some fireball skips are a little more inconsistent than others, but most of them are pretty consistent. On some of the bosses, it sometimes is a little more difficult to get all the doubles you would want, but these runners are both very good at trying to get as many doubles as they possibly can.
I think Rhino might be trying to buff his nail arts used stat on the spreadsheet. I'm seeing him dash slash like every lever from just that tiny fraction further away. Like, obviously, yes, that is saving time, but I'm not sure how much of that is consciously trying to save time and how much of it is going for like highest nail arts usage.
Yeah, we do have a sheet on the community that tracks various things about these races, and nail arts are one of them. Oh, Muri, this room is very difficult. Tons of RNG. That
Muri
guy.
at 3 HP here as well. If the Soul Twister teleports there right in front of you, there's really nowhere else you can go. You have no option but to either kill him or pray that he gets out of the way.
Yep, and Rhino, he's going to be doing the Soul Master, which we're going to be looking for a lot of double hits here, hopefully. Yep, and he finishes the fight, the first phase of the fight, relatively quickly.
Yeah, pretty nice fight from Rhino. Didn't get too much good luck in terms of doubles, but very few missed in fireballs entirely.
Yep. So the second phase of the fight... Yep, the second phase of the fight is a little different. It has to do with a lot of dives, and these players are going to be hitting the Soul Master as he dives to try to get soul as fast as they can to, do damage as fast as you can. It's the name of the game, speedrunning. So we're getting a little better luck with doubles and finishing the fight around 30 seconds behind, factoring in all RNG from Sanctum and more other things that were pretty unfortunate.
So Rhino now picking up our second spell, the Desolate Dive, which allows us to break floors and also gain iframes, which are very useful against many bosses later on.
Indeed.
Both runners looking good on Geo on their way back to King Station, though.
Yeah, absolutely. At this point of the game, it's mostly just an ability movement, but because your spells do, your Fireball spell, your Shade Soul does a lot more damage and is quicker to use. But once we get the upgraded version of the Desolate Dive, the Descending Dark, it becomes the primary mode of damage for most of the run.
As Airto said a little earlier, we need 300 Geo when we leave Sanctum and City to buy the King's Station Stag. Rhino gonna need 30 more, which he's probably gonna get from Husks as he dives through the floor. Muri is only gonna need about... Well, he's actually gonna need slightly less, but it's pretty much identical right now.
Yep. Muri getting a little bit unfortunate with the missed dive on that glass floor, losing him a little more time and widening the gap between the runners.
Yeah, I think it's a little over 30 seconds right now. Considering that Muri probably lost most of that time to the repeating the shade skip, they've stayed pretty consistent in terms of their separation throughout City so far.
Yep, Rhino grabbing up pretty much all the Geo he needs. We're going to be performing a dive later, and he's 100% good on Geo, which is you do love to see.
So we're going to be picking up this bench in Spire, not for kind of safety purposes. There's not like a dangerous part of the run coming up. But we will save and quit back to our last bench. And in quite a long time, we're going to need to come back here to fight Watcher Knights. So we're going to keep that bench and save and quit there later. So for the next kind of 10-15 minutes or so, we're not going to be able to take any safety benches. So the runners will need to go through all of Crystal Peaks without... that kind of bench, taking any safety benches there.
Yep, and there are a lot of places as well that damage tanks are optional that people can do, runners can do to get to save even more time on some paces. Most of the damage tanks are optional, and all of the damage tanks are optional, aren't they? Yes, they are. But,
none of them saves massive amounts of time, but it's the kind of time save that I think both of these runners will be very accustomed to just going for.
Yeah. So health is going to be very carefully managed in these upcoming 10-ish minutes. So
Rhino finishing with a clean 0 Geo right now. This time Muri taking a little bit more Geo than is necessary. And Geo's not really going to be a major factor for the rest of the run. Like Geo for the remaining kind of benches and stag stations we need to buy is fairly easy to come by. So they can just focus on purely executing the run to the best of their abilities and not having to worry about things many splits in the future now.
Yep, so both these runners, since they were so short on Geo in the beginning of their run, they have to take the long way, stagging to Dirtmouth, and working their way all the way to Peak, saying hi to Mila. And
only hi for now, maybe more later.
JB, I'm not familiar. Are you a Mila killer or a Mila saver?
Mila did nothing wrong.
Ooh, okay. That's good information. I'll make sure to not sign up for commentary with you in the future.
Ooh, wow.
I'm just kidding. But both these runners going to be making their way through Crystal Peaks, hopefully pretty well. There are some cool tricks coming up, such as the Pog Axe and Underplat, which are fan favorites.
We have not seen too many Pog Axes so far this tournament. I'm not sure whether people are just trying to play safe. It does save about 3 seconds, I believe. Rhino is absolutely going to go for it here.
Oh, yeah.
Easy does it.
Yeah. He is a notorious Pog Axer. The trick is pretty consistent, he says, for him. But another cycle-based room coming up. This room, if you're a little slow, you have to damage tank. But if you get the God Cycle or God Pixel right there...
Ooh, Rhino. What a play. Excellent. Yeah. He's really been on point so far this race. Has barely put a foot wrong.
Yep. That trick is known as God Pixel because I think it is a pixel perfect trick to get through the laser and the laser shooter, whatever name that enemy is. So Muri, we're going to be seeing another Pog Axe potentially. Ooh,
a little bit further to the right, but manages to make it stick. Very well done.
Yeah, it looks like Rhino has found a very nice groove and is coasting through this run so far, which is
this is kind of no disrespect to Muri. He's still playing very well, aside from obviously that missed shade skip. But Rhino has barely put a single foot wrong so far. He's playing really, really well.
If he continues to play like this, it's going to be really, really hard for Muri to try to find a way to wiggle back into this race. Hopefully, we're going to be seeing an underplat. Hold your woos. Yeah, there we go. Woo!
It's one.
It's one underplat. And Rhino is going to be getting Crystal Heart. I could check if he's ahead of PB pace. I don't believe he could be.
I'm struggling to think of a time in this run where he's like had any major time loss. If he's on like not on pace, I don't think he'll be far behind. His early game was really, really good, especially like that first Vengeful Spirit split.
What was his time for C-Dash? Just chat now, do you know?
I think it was 23:05 or thereabouts.
Yeah, he seems to be 15 seconds behind PB pace, which is very good in a race setting.
Ooh, just a little bit low on that second dash, getting hit by the Crusher, so he will lose a bit of time having to reset that cycle.
Yep, and we're going to be seeing the first of a couple dark rooms coming up. We don't buy Limifly Lantern in this run, but we decide to do the rooms pretty much blindfolded instead. We only have a little bit of space to see around us. But for these runners, it's enough. That's all we need to get through these rooms. Beautifully done by Rhino.
Yep. Very, very textbook. Just dash only, platform to platform. Just pretending that the Crystal Hunters are just not even there. Very well performed.
If you slow down, the Crystal Hunters will never see you. But Muri coming up to this dark room as well. Both of these runners doing absolutely fine on HP or health or whatever you want to call it. But we're going to be seeing a cool trick out of Rhino to gain early control from the getting the Descending Dark, and he slides into some spikes as you see, and he gets full control back, which is nice. You don't have to wait for that.
Excellent dark room from Muri as well while we were watching Rhino get the D-Dark early control.
Yep.
So Muri dashing into Crystallized Mound just as Rhino is leaving. I think there's about a 40-second difference between the two of them right now.
which actually matches their PBs. So hopefully we see some good play out of both of these runners, and maybe Muri can close the gap if he plays exceptionally well the rest of the race. Yeah, you have to be really focused to try to just perform your absolute best the rest of your race if you're Muri here, and just hope Rhino messes up something small. So Rhino going into the dream sequence right here. You may think 2 health is a little concerning, but it's absolutely not. Even 1 health is not concerning here, as there's no places you can lose. You can even get hit, even if you wanted to, for the rest of this split.
Yeah, you saw Rhino taking a dive off the platform there. That actually makes the seer spawn slightly faster, so that these platforms appear. Whenever we fall off any of these platforms, intentionally or unintentionally, we just respawn back at the platform. But that is going to cost Rhino a non-negligible amount of time. We saw that in the previous race as well from Porm, just trying to dash a slight bit too early. Probably going to cost about 7 seconds.
Yep, opens the door ever so slightly for Muri to make back a little bit of time, which makes the race a little bit closer. Yep, so we're going to be seeing Rhino quit out here, go back, and soon face the Watcher Knights, which are a boss of much dismay for casual players and 1-2-2-1 any percent and curve patch any percent runners. But in this run, they're a lot easier. Certainly, by no means you can turn your brain off and just fight them, such as in 106. Although there are some nuances in 106 Watcher Knights as well, but there are some very difficult places where you have to be damage tanking a lot and focusing on your run as well in this patch and in this run.
So Muri making it through the Dream Nail sequence without too much difficulty. So he's going to reduce the gap ever so slightly, but Rhino is still fairly comfortably in the lead right now as he begins to take on the Watcher Knights.
We also we did the grayest sin that any commentators could do and forgotten to mention the underplat, where he did hit the underplat during that dream sequence, which we can't leave unmentioned. So Rhino is going to be cleaning up these Watcher Knights, hopefully very cleanly. In this patch, you can chain your dives together to do massive damage against bosses, which is always nice. Oh, I think that was a triple hit on that one, which is very nice. Doing 120 damage with 1 fireball.
Yeah, they're moving around a lot for Rhino, but he's very on point with countering their movements. So very well played.
Absolutely. So you may have seen the runners a couple times dash through gates, and looks like they're still hanging on to the gate as they're going through. That is a trick that we like to call walkling storage, and you could still dash into the gates as they're opening, but it lets you through while also keeping the momentum of being holding the gate, which sounds more confusing, but it's a very interesting trick that we're going to see. We've already seen quite a bit, and we're going to see even more.
I think every single attack that we just saw from those last 2 Watcher Knights on Muri's stream was a roll. I don't think we saw a single bounce or a nail swing. They just rolled back and forth in the opposite directions for the entire duration, which is kind of unfortunate.
Yeah. RNG does play a big factor in a lot of these fights, much to the dismay of a lot of runners, but if you're quick enough and have enough soul, you can usually counter it, but if you get bad enough RNG, there's little you could do. So the runners are coming up. I think they're already past the halfway point, and they're going to be doing some very interesting and cool skips right here. They're to get to Isma's tier without having to do all of waterways. Waterways is what they usually have to do before it.
Yes, so normally to get Isma's tier, we'd have to C-dash through a spike tunnel after beating Dung Defender, but that requires us A, to get to Dung Defender, which requires a simple key, and B, to actually fight Dung Defender, and both of those things are really slow.
Yep, and we say, no, we're just going to do a cool skip and not have to do any of that, which is always nice. So Rhino's going to be coming up on the skip really nicely. Hopefully he gets it first try. I know that he struggled with it a little bit in his last race, but hopefully he gets it here. It's definitely something that can be very affected by nerves.
Yeah, so we're going to see one spike tunnel first up, where we pogo and dash into a spike tunnel. That's perfect first try from Rhino. And then followed that up by 2 acid skips, where we hang really low above the acid and then crystal dash just above its surface to land on the wall on the far side.
Yep.
Really nicely done. And the
And
final one coming up for Rhino now.
Yep, I know he is a setup-less user, which there are 2 ways to do that trick. There's one using a setup, one not, and Rhino's going to be waiting for the whomp almost to hit him. Oh, I think I know.
Rhino will be leaving with the acid trail effect here. He did this in his previous race as well.
Yep.
There it is. So he's going to keep that all the way till his quit out after fighting Broken Vessel. So there's a nice little visual glitch for you.
Yep. And hopefully the visual glitch gives blessed RNG for the rest, because this bridge coming up can be very RNG dependent. It could give you one of 3 patterns, each one of them being low, and it does give them good RNG, which is very nice. The path of Isma's tier particle effects always gives good RNG.
So whilst we were talking about Rhino's pathway through the broken bridge into Ancient Basin, Muri has also navigated these skips without too much difficulty. So he will be returning to following back down into Basin. So Rhino's now going to be buying this toll bench and then going to fight Broken Vessel to pick up the Monarch Wings, our double jump ability.
Yep, and there is a lot of RNG coming up, as I feel like I'm saying over and over again. Did Rhino forget to pick up that bench? Yep.
I think he just crystal dashed right. He bought the bench, but I don't think he actually sat on it, and he does remember now. That is very well remembered. Like, obviously, it's not good that he's lost that kind of 10 seconds, but remembering only when he quit out that he forgot the bench would have been a really major time loss. So that is good of Rhino to remember there.
Yeah. So as we were saying, both of these runners, it closes the gap with Muri a little bit more. If he had forgotten, it would have been a 30 to 40 second time loss, and he would have closed the gap completely. I'm not saying that because I've never done that in a run before. But these Molochs coming up are very RNG. As we see, they can either hit you or they could not hit you. And it's mostly up to RNG. There's some movements you can do to help increase your chances, but it's mostly RNG. I think Rhino only getting hit once. Very good RNG. And he's
Rhino not going for the basin skip.
Taking a long way around, which loses very minimal time.
Yeah, there's a small patch of wall that we can cling onto on that right-hand side. And if we do a dash and then buffer a jump out of the dash on that wall, we have just enough height to be able to reach the top. But if we don't get it, I think, second try, then it loses time to going around. So certainly not a required skip.
No. Yeah, far from it. And it's fairly difficult. There are... we're going to see Muri going for it, hitting it first try. That is good to see. Closing the gap even further. And they seem to have a similar difference of where they are. I think Muri had a little worse RNG.
Yeah, he's only got 3 HP going into the fight, so he must have taken an extra hit to Morlux there. But a very good Broken Vessel fight from Rhino. Lots of keeping him stun-locked with Descending Dark in the middle of the room.
Yeah, and we're going to be going on a little bit of a boss rush here, doing a couple bosses in a row. And what you're going to be seeing with these bosses is a lot of Descending Dark and a lot of Shade Soul doubles. They do approximately the same damage. The Shade Soul doubles doing 80, and the Descending Dark doing 88 if you hit the whole thing.
Fortunately, we have to say goodbye to Rhino's cool Isma's effect trail because it does not persist through quit out.
Yep, and Rhino's going to be coming up on Umu now, the killer of runs and the destroyer of hopes. Yeah, so this boss has a lot of... I feel like I'm on a broken record right here. This boss has a ton of RNG and can give you an extra attack if you're unlucky, and can mess up everything. So yeah, they're looking pretty close now.
Yeah, very clean fight there from Muri as well. I think it's probably reduced slightly to a little under 30 seconds gap between them. But yeah, Rhino going to be heading into Edge to fight Hornet a second time.
Oh yeah, they do Hornet 2 before Umu. Sorry, current patch.
I had to think about that as well, but no, current patch will leave leave Hornet till right at the very end. But Rhino going to be finishing off the rest of Kingdom's Edge here by fighting Hornet 2 for the King's brand. So whilst you were talking about Umu, sorry to just continue there, you did mention that like Umu is going to be our boss that's immediately after this, and there's a one cycle setup for Umu that is relatively consistent, but if you miss it, you have to wait a long time for Quirrell to come and help us out, and that could be like a 20-second time loss that brings them much closer together. So when we get to that, we'll have to keep an eye on how the two runners perform on the one cycle.
Yeah, another thing right here is Hornet 2, which is arguably or inarguably the most difficult boss of the run, or the most difficult part period of the run.
Hornet 2 is certainly the most difficult boss of the run. Some people might find the kind of Isma's tunnel and Isma's tier spike tunnel and the acid skips harder if they're more versed in boss fights and less in pure platforming. But Hornet is definitely the hardest boss in.
Absolutely. Rhino, name of the game, as I said before, Descending Darks and Shade Soul doubles. We're gonna be we are seeing a ton of doubles. Good fight from Rhino, pretty well executed. And
Rhino took some damage trading there, but was very efficient in staggering Hornet as frequently as possible, and was never really in any huge danger.
Yep, which you do like to see. I'm going to check what type of pace Rhino is based on his PB. If you just give me 1 minute.
Muri's managed to get Hornet 2 stuck right in the corner there and got some really nice D-Dark damage in.
Yeah, he seems to be around 30 seconds behind his own PB, which is respectable.
Still a very good time so far. His PB is a very excellent time. And there we go, Muri finishing off the fight as well. Played quite cautiously at the beginning of the fight, I feel. So maybe he has lost a little bit of time to Rhino during the Hornet 2 fight.
Yeah. There's no shame. There's definitely no shame in playing Hornet 2 a little bit safer, especially in a race setting. So now the runners are going to be making their way to Hornet to Umu. Sorry.
So we're going to stag back to Dirtmouth to go down into Fog Canyon, but while we're in Dirtmouth, we'll pick up Cyclone Slash from the Howling Cliffs, just because there's never really a time that we can get up there where we're any closer.
Mm-hmm.
So in current patch, we would get the Cyclone Slash much earlier, because Cyclone Slash can help you lose height very quickly, and inventory drops are much harder on current patch, so it's beneficial to get that early. But here, since we have the inventory drop ability, Cyclone Slash is not really as important.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it still looks cool, so everyone should do more Cyclone Slashes.
Yep, and it is useful in a bunch of areas that it's actually faster than inventory dropping, which is it looks cool to see. And there are some cool things you can do towards the end of the game, like Dab Knight or Cyclone Knight with it. So we're going to be seeing some cool movement using the most out of the C-Dash ability to try to get down and pass long distances as fast as they can. Yeah, so this nail art, you fortunately don't get scammed on, so you're not losing any money to Mato on the mountain.
Yeah, Mato is actually nice to us and willingly teaches us his nail art for free. Very kind of him.
Yeah, provided you make the trek all the way through Kingdom's Edge to his little hut under the in the mountain. Yeah, seeing chat say Murray's over a minute behind. It's besides the ooh, that's unfortunate.
Oh, that's really unfortunate for Muri. The crawlid was just way too close, and then he got hit with the tragic C dash glitch that we've all fallen victim to at least once, I'm sure.
Yep, and yeah, Rhino has been playing exceptionally well this entire race. Muri only getting faulted by his Shade Pogo. The rest of the run, he's been playing exceptionally well, and Rhino's just been playing even better, refusing to let the gap close even a little bit.
Yeah, Rhino has not been completely without error, but those errors have been very small, and he's corrected them very calmly.
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, both of the runners are going to be making their way down all the way to Fog Canyon and eventually to Umu, where they're going to be getting their second Dreamer of the run. This run isn't only about skills. We actually have to get Dreamers and finish the game as well. Obviously. But this area, there's a lot of things that can do damage to you. You can get C-Dash glitched in a lot of weird places, and these big jellyfish can do 2 damage if you hit them the wrong way or forget to cancel C-Dash, or just get generally unlucky.
That was a little spicy from Rhino hitting that jellyfish out of the way. But he made it look very easy dodging that explosion. I think that's something that has been labbed out a little recently for any percent that just obviously translates very nicely here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and actually that dash through the transition has been labbed out very, very recently, that it's actually faster to not see dash through that transition. Now we're going to be seeing the fight. So Rhino here is going to be trying to do something we call the legendary one cycle on Umu, which they basically what the objective is to push Umu out of bounds, and then basically that gives the runners opportunity to get lots of Shade Soul doubles. So hopefully we're going to be seeing some good one cycles out of here.
Yeah, we're abusing Shade Soul's ability to still pass through walls and floors and...
Oh, unfortunately, does not get the one cycle.
I think Umu was just a little bit too kind of stuck in the wall when Rhino cast the first fireball, but there was really nothing else that could be done there. Like, he had to cast or Umu was going to become invulnerable, so it's probably better to, if you know you're not going to get the one cycle, to at least just deal as much damage, and then there you go. You end the second cycle as fast as possible. We'll see if Muri manages to get the one cycle. This could save 15 to 20 seconds if he does manage it, which would be, it wouldn't put him in the lead, but it would certainly get him a bit more back in the race.
Yeah, absolutely. So now we're going to see this hopeful one cycle coming up. And that looks like it was, yes. Yeah, the screen shake. So that definitely decreases Rhino's lead a little bit. I don't think it's completely closed, but on average, a one cycle saves 20 seconds to a 2 cycle. So potentially that 40-second lead is only 20 seconds now and is within striking distance for the rest of the race.
Muri keeping the wall cutting storage going while dashing through the acid looked really cool. I'm sure that that's very well known to people who run 1-2-2-1 at this level, but it's a new one to me. So yeah, I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm. Weird instances of wall cling storage are always nice to see and always nice to do. So we're gonna be Rhino definitely I think Rhino does have Murray's stream up, and he probably knows that the gap is a little closer now. So we might see a little more nerves out of him. I don't expect it, but it is possible.
So just as we thought, the gap is now much, much closer. Certainly not like very easy for Muri to get ahead here, especially if they keep playing at the same level. But we're going to go through, we're going to get Great Slash, we're going to make a little bit of a detour. And then we have to go through Queen's Gardens and Dark Deep Nest in quick succession, and then obviously into the Abyss. All areas with lots of danger, lots of kind of tricky platforming, and places where it's very easy to take unavoidable damage that we just have to mitigate. So we'll hope that both runners can both. Ooh, Rhino dashing into the Uma there, and then rather than knocking it out of bounds, he just kind of gets exploded on. That's kind of unfortunate.
Yep, there are. If Rhino plays well for the rest of the split, there aren't any crazy places where you could take a ton of damage. So
Well, I don't know. Sibling climb can go pretty wrong, and they do kind of 2 damage each.
Well, I was talking about for the split.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in this split, you can mess up the final room. That does a little bit of damage if you mess that up, but it's not the end of the world being on 3 HP here. Yes, I know about Sibling Climb a little too well, but there are places where enemies do 2 damage, such as those Umers or Sibling Climb. Yep. Yeah, this is definitely cited as some runners' favorite split, just due to the cool movement and tight jumps and things that the runners are gonna be doing. No underplat from Rhino. That underplat actually loses time, but we still like to see it anyways.
So Rhino going to be entering the lovingly dubbed green path of pain to get to Shio and Great Slash right now.
I've actually never heard that before.
Have you never heard that one before?
That's great.
I love it.
Yeah, so he has to make sure to cancel his C-dash before he enters this room, which he does. Because otherwise you will face plant onto the spikes.
Yeah, I don't think you can quite stop your C-dash in time if you continue it through the transition, so you just end up kind of splatting into the thorns. But yeah, very nicely executed from Rhino. Muri looking like they're having no problems either.
Yep. So now we're going to be going to Queen's Gardens, getting a couple upgrades on the way, and making our way to Hera through the Dark Room.
Yeah, so we need to pick up our final spell, the Howling Wraiths, which, ironically, we're never actually going to use, apart from the one time where we use it to upgrade into Abyss Shriek. So Abyss Shriek is a very, very damaging and powerful spell that it would be nice to be able to get earlier in the run, but because we have to go first to Heater, to QG to get the first spell, and then all the way down to the Abyss to get the upgrade, it just loses more time than it would save, unfortunately. So we have to leave it until the very end.
Yeah. So, yeah, Muri does not look too much behind anymore. I think he possibly even gained a little bit more time on that split, but there are some definite places where you can lose some time on these upcoming splits. And it could end up being a close race if, granted, if Rhino makes a mistake. Which we obviously don't want to see, but we do want to see a close race, so keep that consensus to yourself or share it.
Ooh, bonus essence for Rhino. Completely useless in the context of this category, but nice to see nonetheless. I think that's a 1 in 300 chance each time you kill an enemy when you pick up the Dream Nail.
Yeah, I think that was an unfortunate squid arena from him. Those squids can be incredibly annoying, especially if you don't get a hit on them and they go past you. They just keep going. And another C-dash glitch from Muri, I think. Yeah, that's.
I haven't actually seen that C-dash glitch before. That's really unfortunate.
Yeah, especially you want to conserve health in this split as much as you can, because Queen's Garden and as well as Deep Nest are very dangerous areas of the map.
Yeah, otherwise Muri making that look very good. He's going to heal here just to get it to full HP. When we pick up the spell, we will get full soul. So healing there a little bit slow, costs a few seconds, but going into those 2 areas that obviously you mentioned, Eto, yeah, definitely worth to have the full HP just to be safe.
Yeah. So now for the Petro Arena from Rhino. This Petro Arena is sometimes a pain, but in this category, 1 Shade Soul is all you need, and they both evaporate.
Yeah, very clean from Rhino.
We see an intentional damage tank as well to get all the way down to the perfectly to the lever, which is nice. Saves quite a bit of time than just going around the normal way. So coming up, we have the next 2 or next 3 rooms of darkness in the run in Dark Deep Nest. 3 dark rooms in a row. However, both these runners are very accustomed to what these rooms look like. They have their strategies that are very consistent. I'm expecting Rhino to heal here, and he does.
And then immediately takes damage by walking forward. The most dangerous attack in all of Hallownest.
Obviously.
But yeah, as you said, both of these runners are very accomplished in any percent, which also does these rooms, but in the light. So I don't imagine that adding a little bit of darkness makes too much of a problem for them.
Yeah. The one really bad thing about dark rooms, which is honestly more of a concern than the actual darkness, is if you hit a hazard respawn, you go all the way back to the start of the room.
Just like that. Rhino walked slowly off the ledge, and there's a few pieces of thorns on that wall. He probably could have done with dashing over the ledge so that he didn't hit the spikes on the way down. That's very unfortunate.
Yeah, that might have been the absolute worst place to hit into a damage thing, and that absolutely closes the gap. The runners are neck and neck now, and this has turned into quite a race with that one mess up from Rhino.
Yeah,
They're
they
actually
basically
perfectly
have
synced on the
completely
second
equalized their
transition.
times now.
They were perfectly synced on that transition, and they're less than a second apart once again. This has turned out more exciting than I anticipated.
Also, this is crucial because Rhino is only on 2 HP, and he has no soul right now. He needs to get at least 6 ticks of soul to quick kill the Devout at the end of Beast Den, which he's going to do by farming this big spider. That's going to slow him down slightly.
Yeah, Muri has a little bit of a lead here for the first time in this race. Yeah, so Rhino, it's up to Rhino to make sure his nerves don't get to him. It's a tight race, but you have to keep focus as well as you can, especially in these harder splits. As most speedruns go, the later in the game you are, the harder the splits get. There are some exceptions, but with this run, certainly isn't. Ooh, Muri not getting the super quick kill, but does another dive to take out the Devout pretty easily. Another thing is Muri has 1 soul here, and Rhino has 0, or 1/3 of soul. So that's going to allow Muri to get left a little bit sooner and kill that Devout again, because it does in fact respawn when you take Hera, when you kill Hera.
I think if you have no soul, it's probably faster to go to the right and below, isn't it? Rather than Dream Nail 2 times.
It is. But that still is a time loss to having 1 soul. So Rhino looking 4 seconds behind at Hera. Oh, Muri going the dash slash strat.
Ooh, that's cool. I haven't seen that before either.
Yeah, that is newish strat. There have been plenty of new strats event for all skills, especially the popularity of the tournament, which is it's really nice seeing the community come together to make very, very fun strats. Yeah, I actually just saw the I don't know if it was the other day or the week, Rhino and Muri discussing that strat in particular, and now they're racing. That could be the difference that gives Muri the time to pull further ahead. So we'll see their difference in times as they take the stag. They have no use for Geo for the rest of the run, so you don't need to pay attention to that anymore. And yeah, they're going to be making their way down to the Abyss, which is a very, very dangerous area. JB, if you want to explain some of the things there.
Yes, so we're going to drop down into the Abyss fairly straightforwardly. We just do 2 long, large, straight inventory drops. And then we're going to dash through some areas with Void Tendrils, which we don't really care about. And then we have to climb a lighthouse surrounded by siblings, which are like characters kind of like the Knight's Shade that we get when we die. Except these ones deal double damage every time they touch us, and there are a lot of them, and they will follow us mercilessly.
Yeah, and their spawns are, if I'm not mistaken, also RNG, so it's up to the runners to use their best judgment, use their thinking on the fly skills, their improvisation skills to try to stay out of the way while also climbing up as fast as they can. So this should be an interesting sibling climb from both of them, provided it is very, very time tense, and also neither runner wants to die here.
So Muri was a little too high on the dash there, took the damage but managed to pogo and correct. Had to squeeze through 2 siblings at the very end there, but otherwise very clean.
Yep, this race looks to be within 2 seconds now, which is incredibly close to at this late in the game, and it just shows how one mistake can really punish a runner so badly. And everything else has been incredibly consistent.
Yeah, I think there's probably 4 seconds between them right now as they entered this room with the Shade Cloak. We're going to quit out here to skip the animation of picking up the Shade Cloak because it's just horrifically long. It's actually faster to quit out back to the menu and then load back in. And of course, that does give us the benefit of returning to full HP.
Indeed. I think, yeah. Even if you stay there, you go back to full HP. And now we're going to see Rhino. They're not going to get their... but they do get the... Oh, I was thinking about something else. I apologize. Getting their HUD back. That's the other early control that we do. Which we didn't notice.
Too, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't notice if either runner accidentally invalidated their run.
I do believe they were both fine. I think if there was an invisible knight, we would have either seen it or chat would have seen it, because there's all you wonderful people watching along. You're picking up on all the things we miss, so thank you for that.
So this coming up, they're going to be getting the upgraded version of the Scream. What is it called? Unupgraded?
Howling Wraiths.
Of the Howling Wraiths, which is the
Shriek is the upgraded version.
Yeah. The Abyss Shriek, which does 120 damage and is the best damage dealer that the runners get in the entire race. We're going to be seeing it used for the rest of the race. But shortly coming up, we have a cool climb segment to get out of this area. The Abyss Climb, which is commonly done on its own as an IL. And hopefully we'll see some cool strats out of both runners for it.
So they're going to, optimally, because they're so close, they're going to be trying to go as fast as possible. But there's a lot of spike walls that have funny shaped hitboxes. There'll be crawling enemies. There'll be tiny platforms that we have to land on, and any mistake can potentially send us all the way back down to the bottom, which is a massive time loss.
It is very possible that this one Abyss Climb decides the entire run. Yeah, we've already seen
Rhino looking a little bit shaky there, but manages to recover without too much of a problem.
Yeah, Muri with a slightly shaky start, but the rest was very, very good. Currently looking at the rest of Rhino's Abyss Climb.
Yeah, very good from both runners.
Muri leaves at 49.49, and Rhino is going to be leaving at 50.08, which is a 9-second difference if you could do math like me.
So it's all going to come down to the final fight then. I mean, we saw 8 seconds time difference in the previous race, and it could well be the same or even closer this time around.
Yeah. So let's explain the fight before we get there so we can comment on what's happening. So the name of this fight is to use the Abyss Shriek, which we just picked up, and you want to stand as close to the Hollow Knight as possible to get that damage off as fast as you can, because it does so much damage. It does 120 damage, the Abyss Shriek, but you also have to stand incredibly close to get damage off, and it leaves you completely vulnerable for around a second.
Yeah, so the big problem with using Abyss Shriek is obviously it's a long spell animation. We don't have iframes, and there's really no way we can move whilst it's taking place. So if he decides that he wants to teleport or like jump backwards, then we've wasted a huge potential source of damage, and he can potentially damage us. So yeah, we really want to pray that he stands still and we can just Abyss Shriek him over and over again.
Yeah, another thing we really don't want to see is parries from THK, because you can't get damage done when he is parrying, because he'll just parry your whatever damage you want to try to get done, which is really unfortunate. So we want to see as little parries as possible, and hopefully good fights from both. So
optimally, this fight should take around about 1 minute, so best of luck to both runners. Muri getting really good RNG there, a full Abyss Shriek, and then the final hit staggered, so he could just immediately follow up with another.
Muri unfortunately not getting the first scream skip.
So when THK is stabbing himself like this, all sources of damage are reduced to 1. So you'll see that they're not going for Abyss Shrieks or spells there. Well, this is really good for Muri. He can do huge damage on this this balloon attack. And that's a GG for Muri. That was a really good fight. I don't see... No, Rhino can't beat this, unfortunately.
Yeah. That was an incredible fight from Muri, maybe even widening the gap a little more. That was a very impressive fight. Even with the missed shade skip, he still performed incredibly close to his PB.
Yeah, the middle of that fight was really, really clean from Muri. He dealt an insane amount of damage in a short time. Rhino having a great fight as well, but unfortunately, Muri just had such a good boss fight right there that it really decided the fight. And there's going to be 18 seconds between the two runners, so outstanding. Both runners really well played again, and a great way to end this second round of races.
Yep, this puts Rhino into the gauntlet of 1-1. He cannot lose any more and still make it to top 8. But Muri is an incredibly difficult opponent, so good on Muri. That was a very, very incredible race. We're gonna try to get both of them in here for commentary. All right, Rhino will not be joining us in the commentary. Muri can come in whenever he feels like.
It's understandable. Very well.
Congratulations.
GG, Muri, welcome.
I
How do you feel?
Thanks. I feel very happy now, but before seeing the results, I was feeling pretty badly, to be honest. Like I literally didn't know anything about the race. I didn't have like the chat or the stream. So basically, I just did my own thing, and I was so stressed. I was so stressed in the beginning. That was probably very visible. And then I saw what happened, and so apparently I won.
You did win by, I think, 18 seconds.
Oh my god.
You were behind for most of the race, honestly, by about 10, 30 seconds. And Rhino took damage on the last hazard in the first dark room in Deep Nest and had to respawn in that room again. And that basically brought you completely level. And then your THK fight, like, just gonna straight out say it, your THK was insane.
It was ridiculous, yeah.
It was really good.
I could have gone even faster, I think, because in the end I played safely, but if I casted the last Wraith, I mean a Shriek, still during the exploding attack, I would have finished way earlier. But I didn't know that, so I played it safely.
That's understandable.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I was lucky with that fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
a very impressive coming back after the missed shade skip. That seems to be a bane of a lot of runners in the recent matches.
You're lucky to not to have me muted, because I screamed when this happened. I shouted at the screen saying, why this time? The reason why I got trolled by that is because if you watched the shade skip back, the shade decided to fireball really late, and that really threw me off.
I've never seen the shade kind of fireball at that height, so I wouldn't have known how to kind of recover from that either.
Yeah, I was. I felt really badly. I mean, the first split I was feeling terrible. Like the speed room, I lost, I think, 5 seconds on that room alone, and that really put me in a very bad mindset for the whole beginning. I think I probably say that I kept up with him pretty okay, I think, at the beginning. I wasn't watching, but I believe so, because like if I check my early games, it's quite okay. Yeah, 805 Mountain Cloak, it's all right. But
I think Rhino had a really, really good first split. I think he was 331 at Fireball.
Yeah,
and I think you both ended up getting Cloak at pretty much the exact same time. You really brought it back in Green Path.
Yeah, you guys were within a second for like the entire early game until the missed shades.
Oh my god! And it's a very good thing that I wasn't watching then, because that would have put me so much more pressure. By the time I failed the shade skip, I felt not relieved, but I kind of felt that the pressure was a little bit less intense than in the beginning. So maybe that is what helped me like staying neck and neck with him. Maybe if I knew we were really close, I would have been maybe more upset about things which happened later on. I can't remember actually what. Yeah, I took a damage in the tunnel skip, I think. That cost me 5 seconds. But apart from that, I think the shade skip, at least from what I remember, is the last big mistake I did. But probably people who watched could tell me everything I did wrong.
No,
That is the benefit of not being under pressure of having to run the race yourself. It wasn't a mistake, but one thing I do want to ask, I think you got C-dash glitch 2 times. Once on the Crawlid in King's Pass, and then once in the Wraiths arena, which I haven't seen before. Like, that happened to me in my race as well, and I was pretty annoyed, so I want to know how you felt about that.
The first one was because I was too late. I clipped at some point after you stop the first C-dash entering into King's Pass. You like go to the left and then to the right, and I clipped a little bit on the ledge, so I lost momentum, and that's why I was a little bit late. I mean, later than what I'm used to, and that's why I got hit there. It's probably not the C-dash glitch, but just the fact that like the 2 hitbox were basically like right into each other. That's probably why.
Okay.
But the second one was definitely it was definitely C-dash glitch, and I was ecstatic, especially as I like stopped my C-dash so late in the very beginning of the segment, which made me take a damage, and so I was pissed. I was like I was at 3 HP, I think, so I decided to play it safe and just heal.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah, is there anything else you want to say? Any hopes for the rest of the tournament? What you're expecting for the rest of the tournament out of yourself?
To be honest, I've been like very busy with real life stuff. Right now, I've barely been able to play recently, so I'm very happy that I was able to pull that off. And pretty much like the first run, I'm just gonna continue do my thing and see if I can like get into top 8. But I really like to say GG also to Rhino, because like as you said, apparently the race was super close for the whole
It really
time.
was, yeah.
So he's. I mean, I've been in the community for about 3 years, and he's been there like for less than a year, and even with that, like he's already so good at the game. So like, big congrats to him.
I mean, he still has a chance to make it through with his remaining matches,
also,
so I'm sure he will bounce back.
Yeah. He's gonna. I think he's gonna do what it takes to be able to get that. I think you need. It's 5 rounds of Swiss rounds.
5 rounds, yes.
Yeah, 5 rounds, and you need like 4-1 to get into top 8, or 4-5-0 if you're Pisces. Yeah.
Yeah, there are plenty of really good runners that have got 1-1 records after this round. So next round is
there is
excellent for us to watch, but kind of scary for you guys, I think.
Yeah. I'm having a 2-0 record. I'm not really confident in what's coming next.
Well, whatever you've been doing has been working out for you so far. So keep it up.
Yeah. Well, thank you for commentating the race. I hope you had a good time.
Absolutely. Thank you for racing, you and Rhino. It was really good fun to watch.
Yeah. Thank you. I think we're going to be wrapping up, I think, now. So thank you to chat. Thank you to the runners, Muri.
Yeah, thank you, chat.
Amazing race.
Thank you, casters.
Yeah, so that'll be it for us. Details on the 3rd round Swiss coming very soon, I believe. Pisces is working on that as we speak. And see you all in a couple of weeks or a couple days' time if people organize races. And enjoy the rest of your weekends. Goodbye.
Bye.